Hi and welcome my dear students to this session in which I'll be dealing with important questions on IIT JEE Mains chapter complex numbers from Mises study. I am Megha Gumbar, having 13 years of experience of teaching IIT JEE mathematics in the Premier Institutes and now on this platform of Mises study because I love to interact with kids. I love to talk to them. If you have any query, any problem, you can certainly post in the comment section and I'll be pleased to answer it all. On that note, let's get started with the questions on complex numbers. Now, in here, I promise you one thing, that I am gonna certainly help you with the concepts of complex numbers, and by the end of this video you will certainly know a lot about complex numbers. But for that you need to stay tuned and certainly hit a like. Alright, on that note, let's get started. This is a question in which it says z is equals to x plus iota y is a complex number where x and y are integers. Area of rectangle whose vertices are the roots of this equation. You need to find out area of the rectangle whose vertices are of roots of this particular equation. Firstly, second, z is x plus iota y and x, y are integers. So let's get started. Now for you, because this question is from IIT JEE Mains, I have given a practice question on the similar type to you. Alright, after I give you the solution, you can just give it a try. Now we are given this equation. If I take z conjugate out, I will be left with this thing. Alright, now I know this property that z conjugate is mod z square. Now trust me dear students, this is an amazing property used in 75% of the complex numbers questions. So you must mug it up. Z conjugate is mod z square. Now over here I put z conjugate as x minus iota y and z as x plus iota y whole squared, and I open this whole squared. On opening, minus 2x iota y plus 2x iota y will get cancelled. After all, this was iota y, so we squared iota y, iota squared is minus 1, so I'll have x square minus y square over here. So I end up having this thing, x square plus y square, 2 into x square minus y square is equals to 350, and I simplified it even further. Now that I'm given that x and y are integers, since you are given that x and y are integers, you need to find out x, y, the value of x and y. You can either use a method of hit and trial, apply a shortcut. Okay, you can write 25 as square of some of the numbers and 7 as square and subtract it. The same numbers, for example, I know 25 is 4 square plus 3 square, right? Now, if I subtract 4 square and 3 square, do I get 7? 4 square minus 3 square, that is 16 minus 9 is 7. Yes, great. So we did it. So that means if I compare it, I will have my x to be x square is 4 square and y square is 3 square. Alright, so implies my x is plus minus 4 and my y is plus minus 3. Now some of you may not be very happy with this method of hit and trial. Then in that case, what you're supposed to do, you can certainly find out that x square plus y square would be equal to 25. Now I have factorized it like this, but I am not sure whether or not on solving for x square plus y square equal to 25 and x square plus x square minus y square equal to 7, I will get as x and y as integers. If and only if I get x and y as integers, then only this is the correct factorization, or otherwise I'll have to think of any other alternative like 35 into 5. That also could have worked out, but in this case the simple factorization is working out for us. So if I take x square plus y square equal to 25 and x square minus y square equal to 7 and I solve it, I will have 2x square equal to 32 and therefore x square is equals to 16. Just like that. So x is equals to what? Plus minus 4. So I get the same answer from here as well, and y equal to plus minus 3. So I get that the vertices of my triangle would be 4 3 minus 4 minus 3 minus 4 comma 3 and minus, this won't be minus 4 minus 3, this would be plus 4 minus 3 and minus 4 minus 3. Now you can easily find out the area of triangle. I don't think you need my help. And then My dear students, just let me know in the comment section which is the correct answer to this particular question. These are the options 48, 32, 40 or 80. I'll wait for your answers. I hope you're clear with this question. Let's move to the next one. This is question number 2. Again, this question has been asked in your IIT very recently, 2017 mains exam. Let omega be a complex number such that 2 omega plus 1 is equals to z and z is equals to under root minus 3. Now, if I put the value of z, I will get 2 omega plus 1 is equals to under root of minus 3. So I'll certainly get omega is equals to minus 1 plus, can I write under root of minus 3 as iota minus root 3 iota? Because under root of minus 1 is iota, we all know that. This, then this is omega. So that means this is what? What is omega? You're very well acquainted with what omega is, right? And now that we have got omega, that certainly means omega square is minus 1 minus iota root 3 by 2. Right? We all know that from our knowledge of this chapter, complex numbers. Okay. So let's put in the values in this determinant, because it's given that if this determinant is equal to 3k, then you are supposed to find out the value of k. Alright, so let's just solve this determinant. I'll have 1, 1, 1. Now what all do you know about omega and omega square as cube root of unity? I know that 1 plus omega square, what all results do you know, is equal to 0. Okay, and I also know, because these are the roots of this equation, x cube minus 1 equal to 0. Yes or no? And I also know that omega into omega square is equals to 1. That is omega cube is 1. Right? Now, I will use 1 plus omega square equal to 0 and this. I will substitute the values in the determinant. Now, what my determinant is? Over here I have 1. Over here I have minus omega squared minus 1. Now, since 1 plus omega square is equals to 0, minus omega square minus 1, that means you need to take this on the other side, will give me the value as omega. Similarly, this will remain as such. Then you have 1, then you have omega square, and omega 7 can be written as omega by using this, because omega cube is 1, so omega 6 is 1, and you just are left with omega. Now, if you try and solve this simple determinant, I can apply this operation. R goes to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Alright, so if I apply this operation, I will have 3, 1 plus omega square, again 1 plus omega square plus omega, 1 omega squared, 1 omega square omega. Now, as we know from the result that this is 0, this is 0. So once I expand it, I am only left with 3 omega square minus omega 4. Right or wrong? Alright, let's move further now. Now, this can be further written as 3 omega squared minus omega. Now, because omega cube is 1, now I can replace omega square by minus 1 minus omega, which gives me 3 into minus 1 minus 2 omega. Now I am being given in the question that 2 omega plus 1 is equals to z. So therefore this is equals to 3 into minus z, and this entire determinant, value of this entire determinant is given equal to 3k. So but I solved this out to be 3 into minus z, and if I equate 3 into minus z with 3k, I will have my k equal to minus z, which is my answer to this particular question. I hope you're clear with this one. Over here, I was just using the two formulas, which is 1 plus omega square equals to 0 and omega cube equals to 1, that is for the cube root of unity, which are also highly important in this chapter, complex numbers, because in one or the other paper you will certainly find mention of cube root of unity and the usage of these formulas. So please be very careful with doing this topic in a nice way. Alright, let's now move to question number 3. Now this is a very interesting question, but also a lengthy one. A particle starts from point z0 is equals to 1 plus iota. That means it starts from 1 comma 1. It moves horizontally away from the origin by 2 units and then vertically away from the origin by 3 units to reach a point z1. Alright, so let's first of all draw the diagram of this, what is said in this. So there's this particle that starts from 1 comma 1. It moves horizontally away from the unit origin by 2 units. So horizontally away 2 units. So what will be the coordinates now? Since we are going horizontally, y will remain same. This will become 3 comma 1. Then you vertically go 3 units. So this will remain same and 3 comma 4. And then to reach a point z1, from z1 particles moves under root 5 units in the direction of 2 iota plus in the direction of this vector, not 2 iota, it's 2I plus j, in the direction of this vector. So if it is moving root 5 units in the direction of this vector, so let's make the diagram. Now after it reaches this position, it moves now in the direction of 2I plus j, and then it moves through an angle of cosecant inverse root 2 in the anti-clockwise direction of circle with center at origin to reach a point z2. Then you are supposed to find out z2 and the argument of z2. Let's first of all solve it till here. Okay, now a particle is moving 2 units over here, 3 units over here, root 5 units in this direction. Now what is the meaning of direction in this case? If it is moving in the direction of vector this, that means, can I find out cos theta from here? Now to find out cos theta, this is theta, this, now cos theta would be 2 upon root 5, and what is sin theta? Sin theta would be equal to 1 upon root 5. Now that I know the angle theta, I know the distance, what form should I apply in this to calculate this point? Let's say this is point P. Can you please think of it? Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Since I know theta, I have calculated theta using this because the direction is given that it is in the direction of vector 2I plus j. From there I evaluated that cos theta is 2 by root 5 and sin theta is 1 by root 5. So could you please tell me, could you please think over it that how can you find out the point P? Now I'll tell you a thing, that whenever you are supposed to find out the coordinates of a point and the distance is given, distance of this unknown point from a known point is given, plus the angle theta is given, you must always apply parametric form to find out the coordinates of point P. Okay, so parametric form that is being studied in straight lines. So let's just use this. So on doing that, I will have this point is 3 comma 4 as we evaluated. It's 3 comma 4. So let us assume this is x1 y1 x or y, let's say. So x minus 3 upon cos theta, that is 2 root 5, y minus 4 upon sin theta, that is 1 by root 5, is equals to root 5, the given distance. Okay, from here I evaluated that x is equals to 5 and y is also equal to 5. You can just calculate, it's a simple calculation. Understood? So therefore this point P comes out to be 5 comma 5. Now the last step, okay, the last step says that then it moves through an angle of cosecant inverse root 2 in the anti-clockwise direction and of the circle with center at origin. After reaching this point 5 comma 5, it is rotated through an angle of cosecant inverse root 2. Cosecant inverse root 2, then what is the angle? That is cosecant inverse root 2 is sin inverse 1 by root 2 and the angle that is 45 degree. So it is rotated 45 degree in the anti-clockwise direction of circle with center origin to reach Z2. Anti-clockwise direction like this, 45 degree, this is Z2, this is origin, Now since this is rotated and this is on the circle, so this distance is equal to this distance. We are using rotation theorem there here. Now I know many of the students don't find it problematic to use rotation theorem. In case that is the case, please let us know. We'll make a different video on rotation theorem to make the things more clearer to you. Now as you see that there is some complex number z, it is rotated about origin in the anti-clockwise direction by an angle of 45 degree with on the circle with center in the direction and having circle center at origin to reach a point z2. Since this is an arc of the circle, so this distance will be equal to this distance, that is radius. Yes or no? Okay, so let's apply the rotation theorem. It says that z minus 0. Now since the one that is now this is going in the anti-clockwise direction, so the place where you reach has to be kept on the in the numerator, and the other one has to be kept in the denominator, which is the rule of rotation theory. So if I apply rotation theorem here, I will have z2 minus 0 upon z, that is 5 plus 5 iota minus 0, and it is rotated with the angle of e raised to power iota. Whenever it is rotated by the angle of whatever is the angle in anti-clockwise direction, this is taken as positive. I am sure you know the rotation theorem. I am just directly using it. Okay, since this was it was reaching this air, this was your final position, it has to be kept in the numerator, this has to be kept in the initial position has to be kept in the denominator. The angle rotation is anti-clockwise, so the angle has to be taken as positive. So you will find out that z2 is, what is e raised to power iota by power 4, it is 1 plus iota upon root 2 using the Euler's form, 5 into 1 plus iota. So you will see that z2 is equals to 5 by root 2 1 plus iota square. On solving you will have 5 by root 2 just 2 iota. So basically you will find out that it is turning out to be an imaginary number. And what is the argument of an imaginary number? Pi by 2. Yes or no? An argument of the imaginary argument is tan inverse y by x. Over here y is 1, x is 0. So 1 upon something tends to 0 is pi by 2. The argument is pi by 2. So therefore what is our angle? Pi by 2. So which one is reflecting pi by 2? Not this one. Yes, this one. Cot inverse of 0 is nothing but pi by 2. So this is the answer to this particular question. I hope you really enjoyed it. Please tell me through your likes, through your comments, because obviously I also need a booster. If you like my videos, if you comment on them, I also get some energy from you people. Alright, so let's start with the next question. Question number 4. Now this is a little lengthier question, but I wanted to discuss it over here because I really find it interesting. Also, if you see now, the mains pattern has changed. The pattern has changed in a way that there are some numerical questions also added in the mains exam now. So this is a numerical question. Now a numerical question doesn't mean like the old ones, the answer has to be from 1 to 9. No, it can be in decimals, it can be any numerical number. Okay, any number. So it's not necessarily from 0 to 9, it can be in decimal, it can be in fraction, anything. Alright, let's start with this question. Consider a triangle having vertices at points A, B and C. Now this question involves a lot of formulas, a lot of knowledge from complex numbers, and as I promised you in the beginning that once you listen to this video completely, you will know quite a lot of things about complex numbers. Right, so let's get started with this. Consider a triangle whose vertices are this, and P is any point in the circle, find the value. Now I am considering a triangle. Let's first of all make a nice diagram of this. It is given that A is 2 root 3 e raised to the power iota pi by 2. So that means my A lies on the y axis. Iota pi by 2 मतलब क्या हुआ? That means iota pi by 2 is you all know it's just iota, so it's 2 by root 3 iota. So the coordinates would be 0 comma 2 by root 3, and b is 2 root 3 e raised to power minus iota pi by 6. So if I plot, this must be b. Let's plot it on the coordinate axis first. This is 2 root 3 0 comma 2 root 3 iota. This is your a. Then your b is 2 root 3 e raised to the power minus iota pi by 6. Now e raised to power minus iota pi by 6, that means minus means it has this from a, it has moved in the clockwise direction here. By what angle? From pi by 2 here, and e raised minus iota pi by 6, it will be somewhere over here, because e raised to power minus iota pi by 6 means you have to move 30 degree over here in the clockwise direction, and if it would have been plus, so you could have moved in the clockwise direction. So this is 30, this is 90, so the angle between two of them is how much? 120 degree. And the coordinates of this point are 2 root 3 e raised to the minus iota pi by 6. So let's, if you solve it, it will be 2 root 3 e raised to the power minus iota pi by 6 is cos pi by 6. That would be root 3 by 2, and sin pi by 6, that is minus sin pi by 6, that would be, because it's minus pi by 6, so it's minus iota by 2. Okay, and coming to the next, it is minus 5 pi by 6. Again you will see minus 5 pi by 6 means you have to again move in the clockwise direction. Alright, it is 150 degree and this is 30, so again the angle between them is 120 degree. So the angle between them, so this is 120, this is 120, and therefore this is also 120 degree. Also there is another thing that is to be noticed, is that since the angles are same over here, and this is 2, if you see, the magnitude would be, the radii would be same, 2 root 3, 2 root 3. The magnitude of these complex numbers is all the same, that is 2 root 3, 2. How do I know? How can I say that? How can I say that with the great confidence? Because I know mod of e raised to power iota theta is always 1, and so therefore this mod is 1. This complex numbers mod is also 1, this complex numbers mod is also 1, so therefore the mod of complete complex number which is on A would be 2 root 3, in the similar way B would be 2 root 3, in the similar way C would be 2 root 3. So it's lying on a circle with the circumradius of this triangle is a circle with a radius 2 root 3 units, and we found out. So therefore this is an equilateral triangle, and we didn't take time to decipher that. This is an equilateral triangle. Why? Because this is 120, 120, 120, and if you use the property of circle, this would be 60, 60, 60. So, and I also realize this is 2 root 3, 2 root 3, 2 root 3. These are the vertices are on the circle having center origin, radius 2 root 3. That I found out by the magnitude, because all of them have magnitude same, 2 root 3, 2 root 3, 2 root 3. Okay. Now, since they're talking about P is any point on its in circle, so then you have to find out AP square, BP. Since we are aware of what A is, B is, P, A, B, C, we are aware. P is any point on the in circle of this particular triangle. So if I draw the in circle of this particular triangle, it will be something like this. Okay, and P is, let's say, somewhere over here, and so I need to find out AP square, BP square, CP square. So if I need to find out what AP square, BP square and CP square is, I should first of all know what R is, that is in radius. Now in radius is given by the formula delta by S. I had discussed this in the solution of triangles also. Delta is the area of the triangle, which is equilateral triangle, so it's root 3 by 4 A square, and S is the semi parameter, which is A plus B plus C by 2. In this case it will be 3A by 2, because all A, B and C are equal to each other. So if you solve it, you will have 1 by 2 by root 3. If you cancel it, so A. Now let's find out what A is, and our job is done. Okay, are you understanding? So no, it's not 2 by root 3, it's 1 upon A by 2 root 3. I made a calculation mistake. So let's find out what A is. On solving, to find out A, now if you see the coordinate of this point B would be 1, comma, minus 1 by root 3. And in this case it is 0, comma, 2 by root 3. So once you solve it, what will you have? AB would be 1 plus 2 root 3, 1 by root 3, that would be 3 by root 3 squared. That will give you what? Root 3 squared, that is 3. So AB is equals to 2. So therefore the length of this the length of the sides of the equilateral triangle is 2. Okay, so let's put A equal to 2. You will have R is equals to 1 by root 3. So the in radius is nothing but 1 by root 3. Now why do we need in radius? Because we need to calculate AP square plus BP square plus CP square. Now let us assume P is any, since P is any point on the in circle, so let us assume that is P is Z, and we all know what about A, B and C, and A and B and C are Z1, Z2, Z3. So AP square would be mod Z minus Z1 whole square, BP square would be mod Z minus Z2 whole square, and CP square would be mod Z minus Z3 whole square. Why I am applying mod? Because it is distance. Okay. Now as I am very well aware of this formula from the first question itself, that mod Z square is ZZ conjugate. What is mod square? Z square, ZZ conjugate. And if I apply this on mod Z minus Z1 whole square, I will open it in a way, because student open it just like a normal algebraic expression, which is wrong. Z and Z conjugate. Let us assume this is capital Z and this is capital Z conjugate. So you will have to have conjugate on all this thing, both of them. So if you open it, you will get this is nothing but equal to ZZ conjugate minus Z conjugate ZZ, it will be, yes, ZZ conjugate minus Z conjugate Z1 minus Z1 Z conjugate and Z1 Z1 conjugate. Again using the same thing, it is mod Z square minus Z conjugate Z1 minus Z1 Z conjugate, it is mod Z1 square. If you multiply them, you will find out that what I am saying is correct. ZZ conjugate minus Z1 conjugate, Z1 Z conjugate plus mod Z1 square, because Z1 Z1 conjugate is again mod Z1 square. So did you see how many times have you used the same property of ZZ conjugate as mod Z square? Now are you aware of what mod Z square is? Now this is Z is a point on the in circle. So what is mod Z in this case? In this in circle as well, the center would be origin. The center of the circumcircle is origin, so the center of in circle is also origin. So you will find out the distance of P from here would be that of radius, and you found out in radius to be 1 by root 3. So mod Z square is nothing but 1 by root 3 whole squared. Okay, and for let's leave it like that only. We will take care of this later. And Z1 square we all know is 2 by root 3 whole squared. Yes or no? Now I will open everything written over here the way I did in this. So let's open it. I will have 3 times mod Z square, because mod Z square it will come in all of them. It will come once in this, once in this and once in this. So I'll have 3 times mod Z square plus mod Z1 square plus mod Z2 square plus mod Z3 square, right? And okay, like and quantities like this, minus Z conjugate Z1 minus Z1 Z conjugate minus Z conjugate Z2 minus Z2 Z conjugate minus Z conjugate Z3 minus Z3. You can solve one and then you can write in cyclic order. Okay, now since in this case this triangle is equilateral, there is this property that in an equilateral triangle, circumcenter, centroid, in center, they are 1 point. Okay, since the triangle is equilateral, so centroid, circumcenter, all are 1 point. In this case, the centroid is Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3 by 3. In case of complex number, this is the formula of centroid, so therefore this would be 0. Implies Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3 is 0. Now if Z1 plus Z2 plus Z3 is 0, then its conjugate is also 0, because Z1, Z2, Z3 is composed of the real parts plus the imaginary parts. So if the entire z1 plus z2 plus z3 is 0, that means sum of the real parts individually and the imaginary parts individually is 0. Now we add the real plus imaginary or real minus imaginary gives you 1 and the same thing. Plus there is this property that you can always, if z1 plus z2 plus z3 is 0, then its conjugate is also 0, and you can separate this conjugate. So you also have this. Now coming back to the original equation, we know the value of this, we know the value of this. The value of this is known, the value of this is known, because from the we found out that the in radii is 1 upon root 3. We'll square it and find the value. We know z1, z2, z3 are the points on the circumcircle, and we know the radii of the circumcircle as well. Now coming to this portion, we will use these results to evaluate these portions. How? Like this. So if you see, you will have z will come, conjugate will come out as common, and you will be left with z1 plus z2 plus z3. In the similar way, z will come out as common, and you will be left with z1 conjugate plus z2 conjugate plus z3 conjugate. Now since we find out that all the two of them are 0, so that means these things are finished. So basically this we know is 3 into 1 by root 3 square, which gives you nothing but 1, and this is nothing but z1 plus z2 plus z3, since all of them are equal to the circumradii, which is 2 by root 3, and square it, multiply by 3 times. So the entire thing is converted to, this would be 1 plus this would be 3 gets cancelled, 4. So the answer to this particular question is 5. Okay, so the answer to this would be 5. And this was a numerical question. I hope you don't find it difficult, because it was a little lengthy for sure. Let's just revise it once again, since we were asked to find out AP square plus BP square plus CP square. So we actually first of all found out that P is the point on this in circle. Okay, and now I want to need to find out AP square, BP square and CP square. Okay, for that let us assume the point P is Z1. If this is Z1, if I find AP square, BP square and CP square, what does that mean? That means Z minus Z1 whole square mod, Z minus Z2 whole square mod, Z minus Z3 whole square mod. So when I opened it, I kind of realized that I need to have mod Z square, mod Z1 square, mod Z2 square and mod Z3 square are already known, but mod Z square is not known to me. So what is mod Z square? It is nothing but radius of the in circle, because I am being told that this is the point on the in circle of the triangle. Okay, so therefore I wanted to evaluate small r, which is the radius of the in circle. So I applied the formula delta by S. Now delta, since this triangle is an equilateral triangle, we found out in the initial stage itself, the area of the equilateral triangle is root 3 by 4 a square, and semi parameter is a plus b plus c by 2. In this case, a equal to b equal to c, so it's 3a by 2. So I evaluated by putting all the values. It's equal to 1 by root 3. I have told you in detail how we found out a. Now that I have found out 1 by root 3, my job is half done. Now I evaluated what exactly is this expression. On evaluating this, I find out that this expression is something like this. This is 3 times mod z square, z1 square, z2 square, z3 square, and z conjugate z1, z1 conjugate z. This was a wrong thing to write, so I wrote it by mistake, so I had to cut it. Okay, and this is how you expand it. Now I know the value of all the 4, so slowly and steadily I am finding out the value of all the things which I needed. Since I know the value of all the 4, but the values of these are not known, because I know the triangle is equilateral, and if I take z conjugate common, I will be left with z1 plus z2 plus z3 inside the bracket, and if I take z common, I'll be left with z1 plus z2 plus z3 conjugate, and which is equal to 0, because z1 plus z2 plus z3 represents the centroid. In this case, centroid is 0, because in case of equilateral triangle, circumcenter, centroid in center, they coincide. Since the circumcenter is origin in this case, therefore centroid would also be origin, and hence this turns out to be 0, and so it's its conjugate. Okay, I've already explained it to you. Now that we have all the values, we just need to put it all of them. So over here, the expression will turn out to be 0. I'm showing you the expression. This expression turned out to be 0. This expression turned out to be 0. This was 1 plus 4, that is 5. So the answer to this particular question came out to be 5. I know it was a little lengthy, but it used many of the formulas, like the formulas of centroid, formulas of circumcenter, z minus z1, z1 minus z2 mod square, and the popular formula zz conjugate is equals to mod z square. Now let's come to the last question, question number 5. Let z1, z2 lie on the, this is an extremely simple question. Let z1, z2 lie on concentric circles centered at origin having radii 3, 4 unit respectively. Now it is, let's just make a diagram. There are two concentric circles and the radii of one is 3, the radii of the other is 4, and z1, z2 lie on the, z1 lies on this, z2 lies on this, and have the same argument. They have the same argument means they must be lying in one line only. Let's say this is only z1. They are making the same angle with the x-axis. That is what it means. So having the same argument, then the value of this is to be found out. Now if you choose to write down z1 and z2 in a proper way, in 1 second your question would be done. If I want to write z1 in the polar form, I'll write it like r e raised to the power iota theta. Any complex number can be written like that as this. So if I talk about z1 since r is 3, it is lying on the circle having center at origin. So r in this case would be 3 e raised to the power iota theta. Similarly z2 would be 4 because it is lying on the circle having center origin, and the radii 4. So r in this case is 4. R is distance of the complex number from the origin. So the distance from of the complex number from the origin will always be 4. And the argument, since it is same for z1 and z2 both, so I have taken the argument theta in both the cases. Now I just need to put the values and get my job done. So let's put the value in this. So 3z1 would be 9 e iota theta, 4z2 would be 16 e iota theta mod plus 4z1, that would be 12 e iota theta, minus e 3z2, that will be again 12 e pi iota theta. Now this gets cancelled and this answer to this is 0. And if you evaluate this is 25 e raised to power iota theta mod, 25 being a numerical term, comes out 25 mod of e power iota theta. As I told you earlier also, mod of e power iota theta is nothing but 1. So the answer to this one is nothing but 25 plus this, it's squared as well in the question, 25 squared, that is 5 power 4 is the answer to this particular question, because this expression is squared as well. So I'm really hoping that you like my session. If so, please comment, and if you do, even if you don't, please tell us a way in which we can improve, we can give you the better videos. Please let us know. Now the highlighted point in this was that you have to understand when are you supposed to take z is equals to x plus iota theta, and when are you supposed to take z equal to r e power iota theta. In case z is given in terms of argument, you should take it as r e iota theta, and in case you are not given anything, you can take z to be equal to x plus iota y. And the popular formula zz conjugate is equals to mod z square needs to be learnt, plus the rotation theorem should be given an extraordinary importance. And last but not the least, cube root of unity, which is asked in almost all the examination. So as promised, I have highlighted the important formulas and the points from the complex number. I'm really hoping that you like it. Thank you so much.